Okay, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for kind of watching. We've got guys an update on a major winter storm that we have brewing here for the eastern United States. All right, it's currently moving up the east coast, as you can see on our radar. All right, this is going to be the final update on that storm as it moves into the northeast. We have a huge damaging wind threat, as well as a possible severe threat that we need to go over. I've got all the details coming right up. All right, so thank you for joining me here on this Tuesday evening. We have a lot to go over in this video. We're going to go over just all the final information and details on this major winter storm that you've probably been hearing about if you're in the eastern United States. So we're going to start here, take a look at your current radar, and you can see it pretty well. So we have two low pressure centers. We have one that's moving up through the interior northeast. Right, this is going to be our first push of moisture, bring a lot of rainfall up in upstate New York, and then a lot of wintry mix up into down eastern Canada there. All right, so that low pressure system is going to move out, and then we have our second line coming behind it. All right, this is our main storm that's moving up to the northeast now. All right, you can see it producing a lot of showers and thunderstorm activity across sections of the southeast and into the mid Atlantic. All right, so this is going to continue to grow in strength and in size as we get a little bit closer to tomorrow, and then obviously into tomorrow. This will begin to take advantage of the warmer temperatures and obviously those higher dew points. All right, other than that, not much going on right now. The entire western United States is still very dry. We have a huge risk of wildfires in southwestern California. We actually do have a pretty intense wildfire. It's blazing in the Santa Clara area, I believe. But we have a lot of isolated areas of snowfall from this backside cold air that's kind of filtering in behind all this storminess activity. All right, all the snowfall's kind of drifting around out here in the Midwest. But you could even see snow as far south as Arkansas. I mean, the radar seems to be picking up on some sort of snow mixing in here across central Arkansas, which it could be definitely cold enough. So we'll have to watch out for that overnight snow flurries. But other than that, we are pretty much good to go for the most part. All right, so we're gonna move on here to the northeastern United States. All right, we're only gonna take a look at the northeast because this update is going to be completely focused and just based off of the latest information on our upcoming storm system. So as of right now, you do see a lot more areas of brown and gold shades popping up on your screen. Right, those are your wind watches, warnings, and advisories. So what's been added is first of all, here for the coastal regions of Maine in this gold shade, you have your high wind warnings. All right, this has been issued for much of eastern Maine down into the all of the Massachusetts coastline. This includes Cape Cod. This does include the Boston area. All right, so all of coastal Massachusetts into uh, coastal Rhode Island and into sections of southern Connecticut. All right, everybody in this gold shade, you have your high wind warning. That does also include two counties out here in Long Island. You have Nassau and Suffolk County both included in that high wind warning. So anybody within this circle here, all right, you're currently under a high wind warning. All right, so this is specifying gusts up to 60 miles per hour possible. And so if you're in the high wind warning area, definitely make sure that you are staying very safe on those roadways. And that if you encounter any fallen trees or power lines, obviously stay safe out there and just make sure that during the strongest period of winds, you're staying away from that top level of your home just in case, any trees fall down. But definitely power outages are likely tomorrow with those winds. All right, you can also see we do have in this tan shade wind advisories going out for pretty much the inland areas here, areas just to the west here where our high wind warnings are, going into sections of central Mass, all right, down into the rest of Rhode Island, Connecticut. This does include New York City down into pretty much, I believe this is all of Connecticut actually. All right, coastal New Jersey, and then finally into southern Delaware. Anybody in this tan shade, that is where we have our wind advisory. All right, that's specifying gusts up to 50 miles per hour possible. Still some spotty power outages and some tree limbs and possibly even some trees down as well. All right, you have a pretty massive winter weather advisory going out for sections of Vermont into sections of western Maine here. All right, so if you're in the purple shade, expect some wintry weather conditions. And I do think that tomorrow we will see a lot of counties out here get filled in across upstate New York with those winter weather advisories. I don't think it's going to quite yet meet the winter storm criteria, but I do think definitely a couple inches of snow are possible. So that could definitely warrant a winter weather advisory. So I do think we'll probably see a lot of counties out in the interior Northeast becoming included in that. And then you have your flood watch here for sections of northwestern Connecticut, western Mass, into sections of New Hampshire. All right, so if you're in this green shade, this is where we're expecting possible flash flooding tomorrow, as we do have that very heavy rainfall that we're expecting to move in as we get into the late afternoon and early evening time frames. So that brings us to our next segment of the video. We just look at our hour by hour here. This is our outlook by the NAM 3Cam model. So as we get later and later into tonight, you can see the rain starts to set in. It's actually, I believe it's raining at the house right now. We're starting to just get feel these initial showers and storms to kind of ride through. I guess these aren't storms, but definitely some showers that are beginning to move through. But that low pressure center is really starting to swiftly move in. And basically, happens you just continue to get your slug of moisture here. And we take this out to about 7 in the morning, all right? You can really see these isobars now showing that stout southerly flow here, moving north with with our low pressure center here. You're starting to get those heavier pockets of rain moving into sections of southern New England, and you're starting out as all rain for interior northeast. So if you're anywhere around that low pressure center, you're obviously going to stay as rainfall, because this cold air still needs to influence the backside of the storm to really change it over to snow. So you're not seeing that changeover yet. You're just getting a very cold and wet rain here across sections of Pennsylvania and upstate New York. All right, but this is definitely on the verge of changing over to snow, and there could definitely be some wet flakes mixed in. So we take this a little bit farther. We're getting into the late morning hours, and this is really starting to become heavy rainfall. You can actually see almost supercell, I guess not supercell, but storm cell looking like um bubbles here, if you want to put it that way. I mean, that was a very hard description to understand, but basically you just get a lot of little pockets of heavier rainfall, isolated pockets here of heavy rainfall. Definitely some lightning and thunder possible embedded with these, but this is starting to congeal here into a line. We actually already do have what seems to be a squall line trying to move through sections of Delmarva, so DC, maybe even all the way up to Philadelphia. If you're west, if you're really south, or just, east of that low pressure center, there's a possibility you could have some embedded damage wind gusts, some thunder, and some lightning with that potential squall line. So, also notice that we do have some more snow starting to kind of kick in here on the backside. This is going out into sections of, Tennessee. This is far eastern Tennessee, those mountainous regions of western Virginia, West Virginia. Everyone out here is seeing light to moderate snowfall. But it's snowing in Boone. It's snowing in just all these upper elevations. So the higher in elevation you get, the higher the chance you're going to have for seeing some snowfall. But this cold front is very strong, so it's moving pretty quickly, and it's going to start to change a lot of the snow, or excuse me, a lot of this rain over to snow. We take this out to about midday. This is about 2 o'clock, so just after lunchtime. All right, your low pressure center is just moving to the east of the Finger Lakes region. This is moving through upstate New York into central New York State. All right, this squall line is just becoming stronger and stronger, and you can see it's much more well defined now, stretching all the way from northern Virginia, pretty much down, or excuse me, northern New Jersey, all the way down to North Carolina. All right, this is just continuously pushing off to the east, and so this is definitely going to kind of just sweep through and definitely bring that last push of possible power outages and very strong winds. But also on the backside, you're starting to see some light to moderate snowfall enter sections of, western PA, the hills and valleys of western Pennsylvania. And then takes it a little bit further, and New York City definitely looks like a very rough afternoon kind of commute for you guys. So this is gonna be very messy. It's not looking good for travel out here. I think we're gonna see major delays. Obviously, many flights canceled out here, but I mean, this is gonna be bringing big time problems here across all of southern New England and most of the Mid Atlantic here. So this is going to continue throughout the afternoon, kind of continuously pushing off to the east, and it still gets stronger. I mean, this is offshore, but look how intense this is. All right, this is producing a lot of lightning, torrential rainfall, but very strong winds with this. So you have a extraordinary just squall line and band of storms that's moving through. And this is a little bit weaker on land, but you still have the kind of the same idea across sections of New England here. So there is a potential for a possible, pretty rare December severe thunderstorm threat pretty far north, and I do think that even the Boston area could have the possibility for seeing some of the severe weather. So, this is really as we head in the evening hours, really around dinner time. But as for the snow, it's gonna struggle. It's gonna struggle to change over to snow, because this cold front's pretty slow moving, but if you do have an area of heavier rainfall that's pretty close by to where that cold front's going to be, you have the chance for seeing a period of very wet and heavy snowfall. So if any of you are tuning in here from, northern Pennsylvania or the Finger Lakes region, upstate New York, let me know if what you're seeing out here, because it's going to be very interesting to see what our totals look like. But I will say that as we've progressed closer and closer to this time frame, the kind of the sheer amount of snow expected has definitely considerably gone down. So it's just going to struggle. It's not going to be a big event for you guys out in the interior Northeast. It's mostly going to be a rain event. All right, but this will most likely be a bomb cyclone, because after all this kind of moves out, this is going to move way up into Canada, and this is going to continue to get very strong, because this is just a absolutely classic negatively tilted trough, and these kind of things do that a lot. And so this is actually also part of an atmospheric river, because this is going to be our third low pressure system to move through the Northeast in just a couple of days. So very interesting weather going on, not something you see every day. But another thing I quickly want to mention is look at this backside lake effect snow. All right, you have a lot of cold air aloft here, a lot of cold air moving through. This is behind that cold front. All right, you're still going to have some lingering energy, which will definitely be able to generate some lake effect snow. And this gets very heavy over Lake Ontario, Lake Erie here. All right, a lot of these areas that did see a lot of heavy lake effect snow just a couple weeks ago, looks like you guys are going to get hammered again. So a couple feet of snow is possible once again as we get into the later days of this week. But this is going to continue for quite a while. I mean, this looks like days straight here of heavy lake effect snow. So it seems like we're going to have another situation kind of similar to the one we had just about a week ago, but it's looking like it won't be as intense. All right. So we move over here to your SPC outlook. This is going to kind of give us a look here at what the Storm Prediction Center is showing us for our possible squall in here. So we do actually have a pretty broad margin risk spreading all the way from pretty much just right around the Boston area all the way down to central Florida, which is pretty wild. But we have a very populated area out here. Look at this, almost 40 million people. But this is pretty much all the way up and down the eastern seaboard. We have a marginal risk for severe weather. And inside of this, we do also have a slight risk, including all of coastal North Carolina, so the Outer Banks here going from Wilmington to Virginia Beach. All right, and this is driven off by a 5% tornado threat. So at the southern part of that line, we are going to see some embedded supercells. And I guess you wouldn't say embedded, but definitely some spotty supercell activity. And I do think that there is the possibility for some spin up tornadoes. So I do think a tornado or two is possible, especially because we did actually have a couple tornadoes today across sections of Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. So I do think with a similar kind of setup here, I do think it's going to be possible that we're going to get more tornadoes tomorrow. So if you're in coastal North Carolina, please be aware that there's going to be the potential for some water spouts and some spin up tornadoes. All right, nothing too strong, but definitely something you need to continue to watch here as we go throughout the day. All right, but for the rest of the country, for the rest of the eastern United States, all right, this is mainly driven off by a 5% damaging wind threat. This is for the entire marginal risk area, and then for that slight risk, you also have a 15% damaging wind threat for the coastal regions of North Carolina, and then obviously you do not have a hail threat. All right, so that takes care of your severe threat. Now we take a look here at the rainfall with this system. All right, this is going to be producing a ton of heavy rainfall. So as of right now, we have a slight risk for excessive rainfall by the Weather Prediction Center. This is including all of Maine, New Hampshire. This is including some of Vermont here. All right, but this does include all of Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and then it does go into sections of Long Island here. So the east end of Long Island included in that slight risk. All right, so that is a level 2 out of 4 slight risk for seeing excessive rainfall within 25 miles of a given location. Then if you're in the green shade here, all right, that's a marginal risk that's extending pretty much from upstate New York all the way down to the outer rings of North Carolina. All right. So as far as expected rainfall goes, this is the official forecast. I believe also from the Weather Prediction Center. Yes, this is the Weather Prediction Center here. All right, so basically they're calling for a really large swath here across Maine of about 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. I do think that everyone out here in Maine is going to get at least an inch of rainfall, but a lot of these areas could end up with 2.5 inches or more. I do think we could see some spotty areas getting close to 4 inches of rain. So major flooding is possible here, as we do have just a lot of rain that's going to be coming down in a very short amount of time here. But we could click around a little bit, and you can see there it is, 3 inches of rain here in central Maine. So I do think there's definitely going to be a couple areas that will see close to 4 inches, as there actually is according to the Weather Prediction Center, a possibility for seeing 4 inches of rain here near the Baxter State Park area. So just make sure that you are staying weather aware, and obviously turn around, don't drown if you encounter flood roadways. Move over to New Hampshire. Those totals continue to increase, and we see another area of 4 inches of rain expected here. This is close to 4.5 inches. All right, across sections of central New Hampshire. I mean, this is a lot of rainfall. All right, north of Concord, this is pretty much just to the east of I-93. We're expecting 2 to 4 inches of rain to fall. So a lot of rain between Maine and New Hampshire, and then the farther south you go, the less their totals get. But southern New England, you see another spike in those totals because of that squall that moves through. All right, so for much of eastern Connecticut, that's another area of 2 to 4 inches, just about 3 inches of rain possible for sections of Rhode Island. All right, eastern Connecticut into central Mass. All right, but to the east of Springfield here, we could see another area of 2 to 4 inches pop up for sure. But Long Island, New York City, definitely 2 to 4 inches possible. And I will say, all right, the HRRR and some models, have picked up on a signal of some areas here seeing potentially 4 to 5 inches in this kind of area. So if you if you live in this area, just please make sure that you are staying aware that there is a chance for this this forecast to increase pretty drastically. I do think that some of these areas could definitely end up with higher totals here, but northern New Jersey 1 to 2 inches, and that's pretty much the same story for everyone farther south. But even the Carolinas could get a couple inches of rainfall here, especially the farther inland you go. But just to look at it on the wide view here, a ton of rain is expected to fall with this bomb cyclone expected, atmospheric river, but just a total washout here for the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic for pretty much all day tomorrow. So I do want to move over here to the NAM3CAM model. We're going to look at our snow totals now. So, all right, as you can see, obviously minor snow totals expected, but across the board, pretty much the big story is about 2 to 4 inches of rain. Snow. So anybody in this blue shade, this is where we could expect 2 to 4 inches. I do think that if you're in the purple shade or pink shade here, all right, that's where you can see the isolated higher amounts here. But there's upper elevations of West Virginia into southwestern PA. There is a potential to see closer to 2 to 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches. All right, so I definitely do think some isolated areas could see some higher amounts, but once again, just across the board, about 2 to 4 inches is expected here, but mostly I'd say 1 to 2. So really, once again, just a very minor event. It's going to struggle to turn over to snowfall, but there will be accumulations. Just definitely no major accumulations expected. And then there's that lake effect snow signal really starting to kick in here. Look at Erie, Pennsylvania, already up to, what does that say? 17. Is that like 10? I can't even read that, but that says like 17 inches of snow. So over a foot of snow already gonna fall here between now and the next 48 hours. So really intense snow falling there, and then you can even see Watertown also that signal as well, 6 to 8 inches over there. So big time stuff happening, big time impacts. But as far as snow goes, it definitely looks like that's going to be kind of the least major factor within this system. So finally, for the last part of the update, we take a look here at our wind gusts because this is the main story. You have your high wind warnings, and we just need to look at this one last time. So this is going to be the hourly outlook here as we go throughout the day. So this is 9 in the morning Wednesdays. This is when most of you guys will be waking up for work. and probably leaving. So at this point, you already have 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts moving through sections of New England. Here you can see the Pennsylvania area already gusting to close to 45 miles per hour. Look at all of New Jersey, 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts. Long Island, 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts. So very strong winds already setting in by 9 in the morning. And you take this out a little bit further, and these things really start to ramp up. I mean, this is really starting to kick in here across Long Island, already starting to hit 50 miles per hour across much of central Long Island. All right, Nassau County, Suffolk County, all these counties out here are currently under high wind warnings. So you can already see by 11 a.m. we could already have gusts approaching 50 miles per hour. And then we take this out a little bit further. All right, this is getting to about 3 p.m. And look how these wind gusts really start to ramp up very quickly. All right, this low-level jet is going to get very, very strong very quickly. So now you have very strong southerlies. All right, southerly winds really starting to ramp up here. And this particular model does want close to 60 mile per hour gusts pretty far inland here across southern New Jersey, which I think is possible. I think coastal New Jersey is going to definitely pop off, but just based off the expectations, because right now we don't have any high wind watches or warnings. We only have wind advisories, and I think that may end up being an understatement. All right, especially for areas near like Tom's River or Atlantic City, I do think that some of these coastal regions will definitely have the at least have the chance to overperform. I think we may see some stronger wind gusts than initially expected, but Long Island, Connecticut, a lot of these coastal regions really starting to see those strong winds, and then you can actually see very clearly here. We'll put this back to about 3 p.m. All right, you can see that squall line actually setting up here with that very steep drop there in those winds. All right, this basically can sniff out where that squall line is, and it's pretty much at this point sweeping across sections of New Jersey into southern New York, into the Yonkers area here, and this is just going to kind of continue to push these winds off to the east. And as the squall line kind of pushes the strongest of winds farther east, those winds are going to start to get stronger and stronger, and that's exactly what happens here. And this starts to move eastward into far eastern Long Island here. All right, look at Montauk gusting close to 70 miles per hour. New Shoreham gusting at mid 60s there. So really strong winds popping up there. And then obviously all of Massachusetts really getting up close to 60 miles per hour here. But, low to mid 50s. And then obviously some areas of upper 50s expected with that. And then as this approaches the coastline, they do get stronger for a point in time. And then you can see it right around the Cape Cod area. We do see those gusts get well into the 60s, approaching 70 miles an hour, definitely near Gay Head there. All right, but even on the backside, still some pretty similar gusts here of 30 to 40 miles per hour possible, because this was once again a very strong cold front. So just an overall very dynamic storm system here, but very gusty winds, dangerous winds here throughout most of the afternoon into the early evening hours for basically all of southern New England into the northeast coastline here, but very dangerous day ahead. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for coming to watch. I'll see you guys next video. So stay safe out there. Just stay aware of the weather. Obviously, if you get any urgent updates or watches or warnings, obviously just make sure you're not ignoring that. Just pay attention to everything. And all I can say really is just stay weather aware and stay off those roadways as much as possible, because travel will be very difficult. And I do think that with the just amount of wind if you're on the coastline, it's going to be very hard to get around it, because you're going to have limbs down, you're going to have trees down, and obviously power lines down. So that's pretty much it. So thank you for coming to watch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.